This is the Chamber Link, connecting community, creating impact with Tyler Fischbach.
Welcome to the show, everybody. It's a good week, a good start to the week. I feel like I'm a little out of breath and sweating. A few of us just ran over here from the Chamber's Midwest Ag Summit, so I'm still catching my breath. But that was a fantastic morning. That probably, that wrapped up about 8 minutes ago. And it was a blast. It was high energy. My favorite panel probably in a long time. Let me pull up the names here to give you an idea. So it was Kate Ferguson. She was with Duluth Seaway Port Authority. I thought that was very interesting to learn her perspective on things in Duluth. We had Amy Macbeth from BNSF Railway and Mike Metzger from Mindak Farmers Cooperative. That was the main part of the show I got to see. I was running around a little bit, but oh my gosh, it was great. And what the Chamber is going to do in a few hours, we'll have the recording up on our website. So if you weren't there, if you didn't tune into the live stream, go check it out. It's on our website, /Midwest Summits, and it's free to watch, free to tune in and watch the recording. It was a great morning, so we'll post that. Anyway, let's get into the show today, and this is how I want to get into things. I was thinking about it on the drive over, and I was thinking back to my time in college when I moved up here from high school. I grew up in South St. Paul, and I moved up to Moorhead in 2010 to go to MSUM, and it doesn't seem that long ago to me, but I guess it's 15 years now. And I remember, living on campus and then lived in an apartment in Moorhead, then moved to Fargo in an apartment. And I have this memory of walking through basically fields to get to a friend's apartment behind Lucky's 13. And now there's an Ashley Furniture there. There's Porter Creek. There's Chipotle. And it used to be a field. That's how I got to my buddy's place. And it really makes me think, wow, this area has exploded. It's grown. It's evolved. There is so much business and activity. And it's always been like that. But even that 15-year period, it is different. And it's fun to be a part of that. And with that comes more people as well. The people who drive that, make that happen, make the structures go up, make the businesses run. It's always evolving. And of course, I'm here representing the Chamber, and the Chamber also has to evolve to match the business community needs, the evolving business community needs. I think back, my coworkers will laugh because I probably go back too far in time too often, but in the late 1800s when the Chamber was formed, the mission of the Chamber then really isn't too much different than it is today. I mean, our mission as we sit here today is to be a catalyst for growth and prosperity, and that's pretty rock solid. Besides maybe a few words shifting here and there, that's going to be even 100 years from now. I don't think we're going to waver from that too much. But one thing that has been a pillar for a while, and I think will be a long-standing point of focus for the Chamber, has to do with workforce. When we think about the people that make things tick here, the people programs, you think about YPN, Professionals of Color, Women Connect, leadership. We talked about the leadership program last week. We have a lot of work-based learning things going on right now. The Chamber has a whole series on that with getting employers familiar with and entered into how to think about apprenticeships, internships, and how much that can impact an individual. And that's what it really comes down to, is impacting individuals and upskilling them and developing them. And I could go on and on. Adventures, the Chamber's Good Jobs Challenge, upskilling people and getting them into better jobs in advanced manufacturing, cybersecurity, precision ag. There are so many programs going on, but it all comes back to the people aspect of it, right? And changing individual lives. And so today, what we're going to focus on, and this is going to be a lot of fun, is the Chamber's Concierge, Community Concierge program, which in the grand scheme of things is a newer program under the Chamber's umbrella, but it's a very impactful one. And so I'm going to introduce our guests quick, and then we're going to jump right into the conversation. We have Donna Heck with us today. She is our concierge strategist at the Chamber, so Donna leads this program. We have Colin Tsolis with Bobcat Company, and Colin is going to have a very interesting perspective as he moved here from out of town. And Colin actually went through this program and got to firsthand experience the difference it can make and the benefits of it. So I'm really looking forward to Colin's perspective. And then we have Londa Hager. We're on your stomping grounds today, Londa. So thank you for having us, and thanks for being here. Welcome. So Londa is an icebreaker underneath of the Chamber's Concierge program, and we'll explain what all this means. And Londa, of course, works here at AM 1100 The Flag. Okay, I told you I was going to try to be quick, Donna. Let's maybe let's just set the stage of explaining what the community concierge program is and what's the importance of it in our community.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. The concierge program it's a tool to help acclimate people to our community. It's a tool to help attract people to our community. It's an initiative that businesses can take advantage of when they're recruiting. It's really that leg for our businesses that when they're recruiting top applicants to showcase our community, they can present their business. That's their job. Those recruiters are to present their business in the best light. But beyond that, what's going to make a person's fulfillment in their lifestyle? So that's where this community concierge program comes in. And my role is to help them transition the perception of Fargo-Moorhead, West Fargo. What does our community offer? And to showcase it in a light that's reflective on that individual's lifestyle, personality, family structure, interests, hobbies, things like that, and to showcase those things that are outside of a business. And so that's my relationship with businesses and to help people make those introductions. But then we also have that aspect of the Icebreakers, and they are community champions. They are awesome. They are people that just love to share all the good things about our community, and they want to meet the newcomers. They want to get the newcomers involved. They want to help them find their hobbies, interest groups, whether it be the dart league or the bowling league. It's the invitation to, I'm going to an event, why don't you come with me? So the concierge program is a three-legged stool of that premier level where I would be able to help them with intentional introductions and transitions or experiences at a very high level, or a menu of services. A business can look at our menu of services, such as a community tour or an intentional lunch connection. And then there's that aspect of a business has new entry-level persons coming into the community or a family moving into our community, and they want to work at their own pace or meet people on their own pace. And they can reach out to any icebreaker in our community that matches their hobbies and interests. So those are kind of the three-legged aspects of our community concierge program.
That was a great overview, and I really, just listening to you talk about that, I'm very curious to hear from your perspective, Donna, and yours, Colin, about how this all came together between you two. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to kind of jump into Colin's story here. We'll be right back. Welcome back. One thing I do want to mention, I almost forgot, we do have an inbox set up. So if you're listening and you want to be a part of the conversation, you can email chamberlink@fmwfchamber.com, and that's as in Fargo-Moorhead, West Fargo Chamber. And I've got my phone ready to go, and I'll see your messages, and we can get that into the conversation. So shoot us an email. We're talking about workforce and the Chamber's concierge program. Okay, Colin, I'm curious. So here we are in Fargo-Moorhead, West Fargo. The Chamber is working on its concierge program, and there are all sorts of workforce initiatives going on. Before you moved here, can you kind of take us through, give us a little background on you before you moved to the community? What kind of was the series of events that got you guys thinking about moving, and how did this all unfold?
Yeah, I appreciate you having me come on so I could sing Donna's praises here. But yeah, we were in Detroit, Michigan. I worked for General Motors. I'd been with them for 12 years, and I had moved across the country with them. But things were changing there. Our family lifestyle had changed. We were on 10 acres, about an hour north of Detroit, and that was okay before we had kids. And then my wife had actually left GM. She was there as well, and she said, well, I want to be a little closer to some amenities. I don't want to have to drive 45 minutes, an hour to the grocery store, to the park, so on and so forth. I had started to go back into work. I had been remote for a while, and I had an hour and a half commute one way, so between two kids, a couple dogs, some chickens, and all this land, it was just getting to be too much. So we started to think about moving. And at the time, with the housing market and interest rates, Michigan, to me, was going to cost me a lot of money to move somewhere else. And I thought, man, maybe this is the time to start looking elsewhere. What else do I want to do? Do we want to stay in this area? And we had gotten used to kind of the small town lifestyle. And so we kind of pinpointed some areas in the country to start looking. And some of those were based off industries or jobs, but a lot of it was based off just general newsletters my wife had found. And I remember sitting with my son real early in the morning, and she came to me and she goes, "What do you know about Fargo?" I said, "North Dakota." And she goes, "Yeah." She goes, "Well, the TV show or the movie?" She goes, No, the city." I said, "I know it's cold. That's all I know." And we started looking at it because I think she had come across a number of articles that showed Fargo was in the top 10 places in the country to move to if you were trying to raise a young family. So we did a lot of research just looking on YouTube, watching people walk around town between Fargo, Moorhead, all the parks. So that was a big incentive for us to start looking out here for jobs. And I think I started looking probably in January, February of 24.
Okay.
And saw Microsoft was out here, Case. I had a manufacturing background. And then I saw Bobcat. And I had a Bobcat mower at the time. I thought, I always like Bobcat. I'll check out what's going on there. And they were growing. They've grown a lot over the last few years. And I thought, okay, I see some product manager jobs. These kind of fall in line with my experience. And I put in, and bing, bang, boom, here I am, right? But Donna was set up with me early on in the interview process. I came out here in person, had a great interview. The Bobcat culture was a huge part of me wanting to come out here. Great place to work, great people. And then I met Donna. First, actually, I went back to the hotel room, and I've got this gift box on a desk and a card from her, which, by the way, I still have because it meant so much to me because it was a chapter in my life that was changing, but just having that from you was a big deal. And then she took me around. I think it was 6-7 hours. You and I went around and looked at houses. We looked at different places, schools, town centers, some of the gyms. Like that was, I was already sold on the job in the area, but like having all that information, having that set up, she even shared with me infrastructure plans, high level for the next 10 years. That kind of put my mind at ease going, okay, this is a good place to bring my family because we knew no one, don't have family here. So that was a huge help. Absolutely.
That's an amazing story. And Donna, maybe you can unpack a little bit. So I'm thinking from Bobcat's perspective. So of course they're going through their hiring process, all the normal things that they have to do. How does this elevate that? And Bobcat doesn't have to do too much, right? You kind of take the reins on the external community things, right? And Bobcat just entrusts in you, like, all right, we've got these great candidates. Now let's get them to fall in love with this community.
Absolutely. Bobcat filled out a form with Colin's information, contact information,
Okay.
email and phone number. So the privilege that I have is I got the chance to talk to Colin prior to him coming here, or so we could set up the tour. And I got to ask him about his lifestyle. I got to ask him about what are his interests? What are his family interests? What's his family structure? Is there a faith community that he's involved in or interested in that he can ensure that he and his family can find that? What are his family's habits, or what are their, what do they like to do? Mm-hmm. So when I got to pick him up, I could tailor a tour that was very specific to Colin's interests, and I can talk high level. That's one of the benefits about being at the chamber and being so involved in our community is that we have a pulse on what's happening, and I could talk about high level growth and development opportunities and projects that are going on in the community, so that I can promote the longevity, the retention of somebody having those opportunities here. But then mixed amongst those conversations, it was personal. I could ask them about, his wife and what she's interested in. Is she interested in getting back into the workforce? What about his kids? Mm-hmm. And what are they, what are they leaning into? So I had that great opportunity to get to know these people and not as employees. That's what I love. And the businesses can just hand over that individual.
Well, and I love the emphasis on people, right? And making it personal. And that's why, Londa, and maybe that's kind of how Icebreakers really help tie into this conversation too, and making it personal. From your perspective, Londa, do you want to maybe just give a super high level 30,000 foot view of what are the Icebreakers? And I'm also super curious about why you became an Icebreaker.
As Donna asked me.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. So just a little bit about myself. I grew up in Fargo, and then I born and raised, spent 20 years here, got married, and then my husband went to school in Iowa, so we moved there, and then, we moved back here and back there, and then we moved to Scotland. And when we moved to Scotland, I had 3 babies, and so he literally dropped us off in the front yard and went to work. And I remember sitting there, and I was just like, what did we do? And so I got involved in the community, but I had these 3 little kids, and I just think then when we were talking about icebreakers, we moved back to Fargo, which is fantastic, and loved every minute of Scotland. But when Donna asked me about this, I was like, gosh, if we would have had something like that in all those different places that we moved to, life would have been so much easier, so much happier. You know, if you have kids, you get acclimated because of school. You know, you got pets, you're out walking your dogs, but like literally when you have somebody to say, hey, look, these people like to walk, they like to shop, they like to have coffee, they like the breweries, and then, you know, you visit with them, and it makes all the difference in the world. Like Donna and I were talking, it's not selling you, Colin, on the job, it's selling your family on Fargo. Like if you are happy here, it's great, but if your wife is happy here, then you're set, right? So yeah, I just thought it was a super great program, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Well, and we're excited to have you be a part of it too. Everybody loves Londa. Like, you are fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
And Donna, was it you who, I'm not sure who coined this, but as icebreakers almost being the first friend, right? I mean, just think about if you're, let's say you don't have a spouse or kids and you're moving here from Des Moines and you don't have any connections, how crucial to be able to make that connection, that first friend, to go get a coffee, go mini golf, go do anything. And that is, I mean, that is what makes a place home, right? Is having connections here. Absolutely.
That's what makes somebody feel like they're part of a community, is developing those relationships and building social circles. And it can take time. And it can take time as an adult to learn to make friends. In school, you have those built-in activities, but as an adult, you have to make an effort. And for new people moving into our community, we really want them to reach out to the icebreakers, and they can find icebreakers that look like them, that have similar interests on liveinfmarea.com/icebreakers, and find somebody that has similar interests. Reach out to that icebreaker. That is what they have signed up to do. They're volunteers, love our community, but that's what they want to do. They want to invite somebody to the event that they're going to. They want to help them start developing those social circles, and that's how those organic relationships happen. You know, that's how you build your friendship circles. And that's what our icebreakers are here for. And we have some great events in our community, and we've had a couple of mixers and socials that, you know, Folkways is great about creating the event. It's a great space to invite newcomers to those events. I even sent invitation. We had an icebreaker social last year at Folkways Chris Kindle Market.
Oh, yeah.
I reached out to Colin and Danny. I said, Come on out, you know, bring the family. It's just those larger groups, social situations that make things a little bit more comfortable for everybody to have a conversation, and you have some, you know, a lot of stimulation to be able to interact in our community. So that's what our icebreakers are here for.
Absolutely. And all of our icebreakers, as far as I can tell, all of the ones I've interacted with, they have just as much passion as you, Londa, and you, Donna. It is a great group of individuals. Okay, this is a great convo, and we'll be right back after the news. Welcome back to the show. When we were on break, Londa had a great story that I want her to share with you. It was actually it was at that Folkways event, I think, when it happened. So, Londa, do you want to kind of cue us in on that? I'm curious if you can figure out your headset. We'll give you a minute.
All right, this will work. So I'm sorry, Tyler, say that again.
Folkways event,
Yes.
holiday season.
Yes.
You had a
Chris
good story.
Kendall Market.
Yes. Persian New Year.
Yes, thank you. I'm getting old. I need Post-it notes. No, so Donna invited us, like she did with Colin and a bunch of other people, out to the Chris Kendall Market, and I met with a gal. Her name is Raina, and her husband Saber, and they're not from this country at all. And they had been here a couple months, and Raina's working at NDSU, and so we just started chatting, and my husband and I met them at Brewhalla, and we had some food and we had some drinks, and we started talking. And of course, when we lived in Scotland, that is not this country either. So I kind of could feel where she, you know, like you get very homesick, and just talking about the feelings and stuff. And so anyways, So a couple months down the road in March, she called us up and said, hey, we're having a Persian New Year party at some church in North Fargo. And so Al and I attended that. And like I said, it kind of goes both ways. So we were immersed in their culture for an evening, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's...
Well, and that just really showcases the depth, I suppose, in the, we talked about it earlier in the show of this work is done one person at a time, or one family at a time, one business at a time, and you really can't get around that. And I love those in-depth stories of, this is on the ground work, and it's awesome to hear that. Colin, from your perspective, and not to put you on the spot, but you've been here for a little while now. Now that you've been employed for a little bit, you've moved here, you're getting your bearings. What, from your perspective, can businesses continue to do, or what can people continue to do to get people, so people have a good experience like you had? How do we ramp that up?
Ramp it up, yeah. The culture here is different than anywhere I've ever lived. I've been in 7 states in the last 15 years, multiple cities, and by far, this is the most welcoming place I've ever been. So the Icebreakers, all these initiatives you guys are doing, to me, you're doubling down on that culture that's already existing here. Now, I came from Michigan. It's part of the Midwest, but it's not North Dakota nice and Minnesota nice. It really is a thing. Donna was obviously a big part of that. And then there was another guy I met early on over by where we live in Moorhead. He's in Dilworth. He runs Nygaard Nursery. His name's Luke Nygaard. This guy is unbelievably friendly. I told him we were from out of town. My wife and I like gardening. I was trying to put some cherry trees in. He ran through for a half hour all the soil types, what I should stay away from. He's given my daughter some plants to take home. That was unlike anything I had experienced. So I'm not saying everybody's like that. I get that maybe he's an outlier, but by and large, most people seem to be on that level here. So the Icebreaker thing, the concierge service, that is just ramping what you guys do here. So for everybody coming from outside of here, I think that's going to be pretty special.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm curious from your perspective, Donna. Do you remember, this was probably a couple of months ago, we'd sat down with Drago and we're kind of letting him know about the, Mike Dragosevich, letting him know about the program, and he was pretty pumped up about it. He's like, oh my gosh, this is cool. But it's a lot of work doing this one person at a time, one family at a time. What do you think, how does this all trickle up, so to speak? What's the grand impact that this concierge work does have on our workforce over time?
Yeah, and that's really interesting. And I've done a little legwork on what just one person or a handful of people in our community and how they can make a difference in our community. Because we know that when we take a look at what the projects are for protecting our region with the water mitigation and the growth and development opportunities that are coming, and all of that area has to all be built up, and it's going to be done no different than building relationships, one section at a time, one building at a time, one area at a time. And when we take a look at the impact that, over time, that's going to make a difference. And I have probably done, dozens and dozens of tours now. Mm-hmm. And from that perspective, we've probably brought in, I think, 20 people have accepted positions. Now, I can't make a difference on whether somebody's offered a position, but I certainly hope that I can make a difference on a response that they might get, that might give when they're offered a position, that I have changed the perception or adjusted what they maybe have thought about it, or that they can see themselves living here. And if you take 10, I'm going to just say 10 average jobs from a couple manufacturing, maybe a couple of university jobs, a couple of CEO jobs, so kind of a wide range of entry level to high level positions. 10 people moving into our community. This is 10 individuals, not families. The economic impact that they have on our community is over $6.1 million, and that's just one person annually. That the impact that they have. So the economic flow throughout our community. So it's not just buying goods, but it's supporting somebody else. They support 22 other salaries just based on what they spend and their influence is economically in our community. So it is so impactful. And you can do it just one at a time. I mean, no different than when you're out meeting people in a bar. You're not meeting 20 people, or you're going to church. You're not meeting, you're not sitting down and talking with 20 people, you're meeting one at a time, making those connections. You're finding what you have in common. You're finding common ground that gives you that sense of community and sense of belonging.
Well, one at a time, but over time it adds up. And maybe you're probably going to have a better memory than I do if you can take listeners through who some of our partners are, who are the businesses that you're working with, and do you have any fun stories? Like I know Dr. Downs from MSUM, he's one that kind of you took under your wing when he was new here. So that's just one example, and you probably have so many. So go ahead and share a couple.
That's a great example. MSUM has been a great partner when they're looking at some of their VP positions or their director positions. They always loop us in for the community tour. And I'll tell you, the community tour has probably been the most impactful because that's where I can really have that one-on-one conversation with the individuals. Bobcat has probably been one of the best, absolute best partners. And I've recently been working since the end of last year with Eldevron. And Eldevron has some really unique positions where they are recruiting some very interesting talent because of the business of biosciences and who they're looking for. And again, if I can make an impact on a decision that they might make about relocating to Fargo, because the recruiters who are nationwide, they can get the buy-in on the position, but as soon as somebody hears where it's located, you hear that wah wah wah. John Deere, we've just recently done a couple of great tours with John Deere. An individual that we did a tour with, she was concerned about safety, and her husband very concerned about safety, moving here from Philadelphia. So when we were able to do that, we were able to provide her statistics about what is the crime rate in our community. And that is one question that I have gotten from several people is what's the safety like? And there is no place that I would feel uncomfortable walking during the day here or going out during the day. And that's what I tell people. I do give them my experience. Some of our other businesses, border states, Otter Tail has been, we did a great tour with an individual through Otter Tail. So those are just some of the businesses that we've have some great partnerships with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to shift just a tiny bit, and I'm going to switch it back over to you, Colin. This just kind of entered my mind. And just an honest question, as an employee, how do you think being connected to the community and having your wife be connected to the community, how do you think that elevates you as an employee? Because I think about from our perspective, as we start to onboard more and more businesses, the impact of having an engaged employee. I mean, how do you see that through your lens? Is that true? I mean,
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, it makes a huge difference, right? I feel connected to the community in ways that I hadn't before in places I had moved. I mean, honestly, a lot of it is I have young kids, so that's, like you said, that is changing things. I am able to meet people I probably wouldn't have met otherwise. But Donna bringing me in, she knows I don't have a lot of social media, so she purposely sends me emails, hey, the kiddos might check this out. And my wife has actually met people because of those events that they now have play dates with, things like that. Yeah. So you made a good point. If my wife is happy, then that's all that matters, right? And that's true. Like, the kids are happy here. My daughter is now saying oofta, right? And I'm like, wow, she's just acclimating right away, right? So having those connections, Donna being instrumental in that, like, that made a big difference to us. It made us feel more comfortable here. Definitely somewhere we can call home.
Yeah, that's great. Oofta, that's funny.
Yeah.
I wonder if I say that. I kind of hope that I don't. But I don't know. If you ever catch me saying that, you could give me an elbow. Okay, we're going to move on to our last break. And then, we have one more segment left. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. We were having a great conversation about the Concierge program, workforce, about Colin's story of him moving here. It's been a blast. What I do want to do before I forget, I have a couple of chamber updates. Donna, you jogged my memory over the break. And maybe I can have you help me with this. So we have Adventures coming up soon, which is it's a whole week event, right? Can you explain what Adventures is?
Yeah, Adventures, it's ED, Adventures. And what that is, our program for exposing our educators to what businesses are looking for. So it's a great chance for educators and administrators to get in the back door of businesses here in our community to see what skill sets, what positions are available, so that they can take it back to their high school students to share with them about about opportunities for students, and that might be anything from entering the workforce from high school to going on to college and say yes, they're needing engineers or they're needing architects, to they need somebody online immediately, manufacturing, they need welding, they need plumbing, electrical, whatever it might be. They need HR, they need finance. So it's a chance for those educators to take those skill sets and experiences back to their students for career development and career exploration is really what it is. It's career exploration.
Mm-hmm. And I'll get scolded if this is wrong, but I'm pretty sure we're still taking educators. So if you know somebody, if you're hearing this and you know somebody, they can still sign up, and it is going to be a fantastic week. We have a blog that just went up yesterday. If you're curious about it, you can check it out. Our social media is going to be nuts next week with all the places we're going. It's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, if you know a teacher or an educator, get them signed up. It's going to be a very good time. And speaking of workforce, real quick, workforce it's been at the top of our list for many reasons, but also with public policy. And so coming up next month, our public policy team is going to put on 2 legislative wrap-ups, one for Minnesota and one for North Dakota. And this is July 15 and July 17. And off the top of my head, I'm not sure which state comes first, but that's coming up. And you can find the events on the Chamber's website. And those wrap-up sessions are great. If you take a layman like me and I'm like, what the heck happened? It's hard to keep up with all of that. Our team, Cale Dunwoody, does a great job at unpacking it and boiling it down to what does the business community need to know, what do leaders need to know, what did the chamber do, what happened. And so I'm looking forward to that. And so any public policy buffs out there, this event's for you. Okay, actually, you said something about a $10,000 prize, which jogged my memory. We still have golf balls, Donna, to sell for the chamber golf outing. And so you can go on the chamber site. We still have, I don't know how many balls, but they're $50 a ball. And we're going to drop them at Edgewood on July 16. And one lucky person's going to win $5,000. In second place, the second closest ball to the hole is going to win, I think it's up to 1,000 or 1,500 cash, 1,000. So that's a pretty good deal.
Can you buy more than one ball, Tyler?
You can buy the rest of them if you'd like, Donna. We'll let you do that.
There is no limit.
Yeah,
There's no limit until they're sold out.
Yeah, you might have to do math on what the odds are. But, okay, Donna.
And Tyler, did you say that we're only selling 300 total?
300
so your
is the
odds
limit.
are pretty good.
Yep. Better move quick before Londa buys them all. Okay, Donna, we've had a good conversation and good firsthand stories. I love how Colin unpacked things. But guaranteed there's a business leader out there listening who is like, oh my gosh, maybe we should stick our toe in this and kind of figure it out. Can you explain, really how simple the steps are? How does somebody get connected with you if they want to start this process that Bobcat's been on and has been so successful doing? How do they get started with you?
Absolutely. And just reach out to me. I'm at the chamber, Donna Heck, and call the office and connect with me. I would love to visit with you about it, share more in depth about it. But you can also find it on the chamber website under Workforce Development, Community Concierge, and there is an interest form. If you're an HR person or if you're in the recruitment perspective, just fill out the interest form on your candidate. And if you have follow-up questions or if you want to know more, just ask. Just contact me. I would love to have a conversation with you about it. And if you're new to the community, reach out to one of our icebreakers. Reach out to them at liveinfmarea.com. And their pictures are out there. They have put their personal profiles out there, their interests and hobbies. So please reach out when you're new to the community and want to get involved.
As we get close to the end of the show, Colin, I'm curious, in your mind, our community, we're lucky. We do have a lot of people who are looking at this place to move, to work here, to transition their life here. But once people do get here, not everybody knows what to do as the next step. So do you have any piece of advice, having gone through that process yourself? Let's say somebody's moving here next week. What's Colin's, word or words of wisdom to them to kind of get them to a spot where they feel like they belong here?
Call Donna. Yeah. No, seriously. I mean, that was one of the things that I did reach out to her a couple times going, we don't have Facebook at the time, so we can't see any of the social events because that's what usually people do, right? And she gave me a list of things going on week to week or something like that. And that was a help for us with young kids, so we knew what we could go do with them or what we should avoid maybe. But yeah, no, seriously, I mean, that was a big part of it, was I had somebody to talk to ask for those things.
Yeah, that's great. Wow, kudos, Donna. You need a round of applause
Yeah,
here.
Donna's awesome.
That's fantastic. Okay, one thing, and I know I'm kind of all over the place right now, but like I say every time, sometimes I lose track of the clock. So what I do want to do, Londa, is kick it to you because, as people may or may not know, the Chamber operates a military base enhancement grant. And so with that, we do a lot of awareness about what's going on at the North Dakota National Guard. This is specific to the North Dakota side with this particular grant. And so with that, we were able to help be a sponsor of something that you guys have coming up this Friday. And so we want everybody to go to this picnic on Friday. So if you can explain what that is,
Sure.
Donna will let you know who's invited, who can come, and you'll see why the Chamber was a sponsor of this.
Okay. So every year, for the past many years, the Flag Family Media, so WDAY and AM 1100 The Flag, gotten together and thrown a Flag Day picnic. So we have sponsors, thank you to the Chamber, and many other sponsors, but we have food trucks that come out and they raise the flag, and we have Deb Sagvold sings the national anthem, and the first responders and vets receive a voucher for a free meal from any food truck, and we invite the public to come out and enjoy some games. I think we have games to go with blow-up games for the kids, and I think the weather's supposed to be pretty decent, so I think it's from 11 to 1 in our parking lot at 2852 Thunder Road South. Come and join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. It grows so much larger every year, so thank you, Tyler, for that plug.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's great to keep the momentum going. We're just coming off of a great military appreciation night that we had last week, and we're happy to be a part of this and inviting our military, first responders, and law enforcement. So that's it, you guys. Thank you very much for a great episode. I enjoyed that very much, and we will be right back here next week. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thanks, Tyler.